All right. Now that all of that 13 Reasons Why stuff is just hopefully out of the way, I have another idea about something I might want to talk about for that later. But I'm I hope that I'm not going to do it. I hope I'm not going to be forced into doing it. But um this is the thing. I'm pushing that off to the side now that it's out of the way. I want to discuss something that's been kind of on my radar, but I don't know, but I didn't know what I wanted to say about it, so I've been kind of pushing it off. And it's Marty Sampson and Joshua Harris. I've kind of referenced it briefly in a couple of previous videos, but Joshua Harris and Marty Sampson both saying significant doubts, ground shaking, earthquakes in their faith, not sure where it's going to go from here kind of posts, with Joshua Harris being that, like, not only is he saying I'm doubting my faith, but I'm done with it. I'm not a Christian. I never was a Christian. And essentially, I'm sorry for the way that I've shaped culture. Marty Sampson, however, going on the opposite direction, saying with an Instagram post, which, if you don't know who he is, welcome. Glad you finally crawled out from under the rock that you've been under for however long, but welcome to society. Because he's one of the primary songwriters, worship leaders for Hillsong. And if you don't know what that is, I don't know where you've been. Welcome back from the moon, maybe? Because they're probably more responsible for shaping kind of the contemporary Christian church culture than any other organization. From small churches and small towns to large churches, even in small areas. Most of the churches that you can go to, North America and in Europe, will all be shaped by having at least a dozen, probably more than that, of songs that have either been written directly or just remastered, maybe just produced by or re-released by or published by Hillsong, either Hillsong or Hillsong United, Young and Free. And they do worldwide tours, selling out arenas for worship concerts, and like they're a big deal. And he's been in the center of that for more than 2 decades, really, almost. And he says, like, I'm struggling with my faith. I don't know what's going to happen. And he uses this interesting phrase of no one's talking about it over and over and over again. That pastors keep falling, no one's talking about it. That contradictions in the Bible, no one's talking about it. Christians can be some of the most toxic and the most nice people in existence, but nobody talks about it. Like, both. Like, you have this happening. And I was listening to a podcast by William Lane Craig. It's Reasonable Faith, which, if you're not subscribed to, subscribe to Reasonable Faith. And they're talking about it, that their culture is very much kind of based on, the foundation of it is music driven. I mean, front row, music driven. The main reason why you know who Hillsong is their music. You don't necessarily know who Brian Houston is. You might not even know where their main church actually exists, but you know that they sound like they're Australians when they sing. So, yeah, so music up front, teaching takes a back seat to it, and heavily emotional, heavily sensational. If you confront any of these people on their theology, they're going to say a lot of I don't knows. I don't know about that, but I know Jesus saved me. Kind of reductive statements like that. And so it's no surprise to me at least, that a person who thrives in the center of that circle would also kind of be at the bottom of the funnel as far as the way it's kind of collapsing from underneath. Because when your pressure is on to produce those emotional experiences, doctrine is always going to be second place to it, if even on the podium, because when you talk about sin, hell, I mean, Joel Osteen as well, going in this direction of that. I don't talk about those things because they bring the atmosphere down. And so we talk about grace, we talk about mercy, we talk about Jesus' love, because anyone who's watched a rom-com know that grace, mercy, forgiveness, love, those things can really kind of pluck on the heartstrings, make you feel stuff, right? But the middle part of the story of any of those rom-coms, where you have the breakup of the lie that's been withheld, the truth that was not told in its totality, any of those kind of things, those are the parts where maybe you're going to check out and go into Facebook on your phone while you're watching, because the emotions there are genuine, they're hard, they're rough, they're difficult to... Then we don't want to feel those emotions, the sadness, the betrayal, and so we shy away from it. We want to feel the warm fuzzies of the first night together from the very beginning. We want to feel the warm, funny, the euphoria that comes from the ring being slipped onto the finger at the very end. We want that. So we just kind of jump back and forth between the two. But if you don't comprehend that middle conflict of the story, that you are a sinner, that you have been with, that not just characters on a screen have withhold from each other, but you know the ultimate truth between them, but that you're the one that's been withholding. You're the one who's guilty. You're the one who's stained, and the longer that you held out, the more you deepened the wound that was coming. So that's kind of, I'd say, like where he's at now, of that he's having to wrestle with that reality. The emotions can only last you so long, and not very long. For a person who is charismatic and outgoing, like a worship leader tends to be, it'll sustain you longer. But if you tend to be more of the intellectual type or the introverted type, it's not going to sustain you very long. You're going to run out of gas on that experience very quickly. So he's finally at the end of that rope. He's finally run out of gas. He's trying to dig some stuff up, and there was a response made by John Cooper of Skillet, where just a really long one, like one where you pull it up on your iPad and you got to scroll down in order to read the whole thing. And interviews on Christian media and stuff where he's like, no, we need to get back to the doctrine, which is what I'm trying to get at, is that you need to get back to doctrine, back to the truth. Biblical truth is center. People that lead are great. They can be on the outsides here helping us kind of direct us, but we need the truth in the center, not the people in the center. Well, Marty Sampson had some stuff to say about that, and his thing was this: how dare you come at me like this, essentially. You don't know me, you don't know anything about me, I've never even met you, kind of thing. Which honestly, for me, that sounds like a teenager. Just all cards on the table. I've had a lot of conversations like that with teenagers after I've confronted them with sin. You don't know me, you don't know what I'm like, you don't know my life. So that's an aside, though. I think most human beings are going to do that in this situation. But with the last, hopefully I can keep this under 2 minutes, is you have the confrontation then comes back to, I have questions about why does a person feel the need, if they're having an emotional struggle or an intellectual struggle with their faith, with something as personal as faith, why are you putting it out on the internet? Why are you it's not like a person that's at that prominence in the Christian world doesn't know who Ravi Zacharias is, doesn't know who William Lane Craig is, doesn't know who Frank Turek is, who have some intellectual responses to the questions that he presented. Why are you not reaching out hey, I'm this person, And I'd just like to privately wrestle with some of these things with you, who's at a similar kind of plateau or similar status or in their ministry, so that we can wrestle on even terms. Why are you coming down here to the Instagram level of telling people that you're struggling with a thing that honestly they don't have any business knowing that you're struggling with that? And because they're part of Hillsong, my other question is, where is Brian Houston? Where is Joel Houston? Where are they at? Where, like, they're supposed to be the actual leaders of those ministries. Where are they at? Why didn't you go to them instead? Why didn't you feel a comfortable relationship with those actual pastors in your life to come and answer wrestle with answers for those questions in privacy? Why not just come out, why not do that first, and then maybe 10 years from now write a book? Not even 10 years, maybe 2 years from now, write a book about it, and then you can help some people that way, where it gets out there and people can, not only did I struggle, but here are some answers to those struggles. Not only the fact that there's books out there that are precisely that context. So I have questions in a lot of ways about this. But the main question is, what is this idea that we need to put our personal selves, our personal emotions, our whatever that is, out there onto the internet as if that's a there's a reason why, I don't agree with confession on a theological basis, but there's a reason why you would confess to the priest and not just some random person sneaking back there. That there needs to be a person whose authority is greater than yours in this context, who can then speak to you authoritatively about it. Now, like I said, theological issues with the idea of confession, I'm not or at least Catholic confession, not recommending it. But the structure there is intact. The structure there is reasonable, of that if you are a student and you're struggling with your faith, you need to go to your youth pastor, you need to go to your parents, you need to go to your senior pastor of your church, to the chaplain of your intervarsity, or Fellowship of Christian Athletes. You go to somebody who actually has spiritual authority that they can work through in it. Don't go to your buddies, because it's just going to be a circle jerk, honestly, of people just talking about things they don't know anything about. You want to go to somebody who has greater knowledge, not less knowledge than you. So, I guess that's my thing. Anyways, a lot of stuff in there. If you have questions, love to answer them. And that's it. Peace.